Very good evening to everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight on the Evening Review. My name is Toiwan Jabela. Tonight on the show we are joined by a personality, public figure who was in the papers this week for resigning from the faith of Christianity. Nghipudilo ya Shiindi is our guest for tonight, and she's here to tell us just really about that bold decision. We've never heard of anything like that before. So thank you for joining us tonight on the show. I think the first question really is, I've heard people having resigned from one orientation to another. For example, in the Western world, you hear a person saying, I grew up as a Catholic, and then I reached the age of reason, then I joined Islam or whatever. In your case, you didn't go to another orientation, you simply said no. What's happening here?
Yes, thank you very much, Toivo, and thank you for having me. How do I even go about it? Well, when I have reached the age of reasoning, as you said, I have started to try to understand who I am, and also just searching to understand my roots. So as I needed to connect back to my roots, and I needed to be very knowledgeable about myself as a soul and also as an individual. And then I begin to search and read about Christianity, how it came by, and how it reached my land. And then in my searching, I came across some documents. One wise man once said, if you want to hide anything from a black person, put it in writing. So that person was correct. So everything is documented, how Christianity arrived to Africa, especially the northern part of the country where I am from. It's documented around 397 AD. A certain group of individuals, male figures, met. They had it's called a Council of Carthage. They met and decided to come up with the book called the Bible. There were a lot of collections of books, and they have to sit for a period of some days to decide what book to put in that book. And those books are called canon. Then they agreed to say, no, this one doesn't really maybe say much about what they want to achieve, because obviously they had an agenda that they want to achieve. So they came together, they agreed on the books to put in the Bible, the Old Testament by then. Certain books were removed or were not agreed upon because they are contrary to what they want to achieve or to their agenda. And those books then were, somebody got hold of them. And scholars are saying the person that got hold of them is Muhammad Ali, not Muhammad Ali the boxer, but the other person. So he got hold of, he was digging something, I don't know if he was constructing his house or something, and then he found something, a box, and then in that box there was books. And those are now the books that are today known as Lost Gospel. Now, if you are to read those books, you will be surprised to know about, or to know as to why some of those books were removed from the Bible, as they say mostly about the life of Jesus Christ. Because if you are to read the Bible about Jesus Christ in the New Testament, also those books were put together, agreed upon by a group of, I think it was about 466 Catholic, Roman Catholic bishops. They came together and also agreed, it was in 1419 AD. They came together and also agreed to come up with the New Testament. Now, in the New Testament is talking about Christ, the life of Jesus Christ, and there are also some books that were removed, books that were written about Jesus Christ and his whole life. So in that book, the current book, which I call the slave book, because they came here, and it's the same book that the conquerors, the slave masters, were using when they met in the Berlin Conference. They had that book. And they knew that Africans, we are going to go to Africa, but Africans know Kalunga. So we don't need to go there and teach them about Kalunga because they know him already. They have names for him. They call him Kalunga Kanangobe and all that. So they needed now to teach us about Jesus Christ. And as I was reading those books, you could tell that there are some interesting books that were removed from the Bible. The book of Thomas, and the book of Maria Magdalene as well. Those are very interesting books that are talking about the real life of Jesus Christ, which is now hidden from us. We are being told about, you know, the Bible only record, your Bible that you are currently using, only record about the life of Jesus from birth to I think the age of 13, and then jumped to the age of 33. That was it. The other ages are not recorded in the Bible, and they are now in some of the books that are removed, like the book of Thomas.
So what happened in those other years in between? Do those books, is there any information as to what transpired? What did they do?
Yes, those books basically talked about the life of Jesus Christ and how he lived. He was just a normal human being like any other person, and he did everything that a normal human being can do. One could really, like any sane person.
Can a normal person feed 5,000 men with 2 loaves of bread and 2 fish? Because apparently he did that, and there's no way that you and I can do that.
You know, the Bible is kind of a metaphor book. So for you to understand it, you really need to have some type of mindset. You need to decode what is written in those scriptures. That it's a very interesting story, and it's just not possible.
It's not possible.
And Christians believed all those, because they were told, you know, Christianity is a foreign thing, and for you to be a member, you need to believe. Now, in believing, when you believe, you don't really get to have more information. You just been told,
you stop questioning things.
You just have to believe. And that is the fear which was now instilled in us Africans, because they came with a book, and they introduced that book to us as they are preparing us for something they planned in the Berlin Conference that year of 1884 and 1885. They knew that, you know, when you are coming to somebody, you don't just come, you inform the person and you prepare the person for your coming. They did exactly that because they knew they want to conquer us. So for us not to be to resist, we need then to be first captured. They needed to capture our minds so that we then don't think for ourselves, and they turned us into children. They, you know, for you to enter the kingdom of God, you need to be like a child. You know, children, their mind are not fully developed. They don't think for themselves. That is how Africans were made also, not to use their brains.
But I'll challenge you on these things. I'm a Christian man. I'm not as enlightened as you are, which is a surprise because you are no longer a Christian. And I'm here as a Christian man, and I cannot articulate the Bible in the manner that you just did. But Christianity, I'm a Christian man because I believe in God. I believe in the existence of God. If you ask me to explain where he lives and how he looks like, I will never tell you anything about that because I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I believe in that mythical enigma, the Father. Now, it has helped many of us to behave according to a set of rules, the commandments and many other things, that I must be kind to people, I must be helpful where I can, I must be obedient to my parents and to other people around me. And if that is the teaching, how can that be wrong?
Interesting. And indeed, you are a Christian. Your name says it, Toivo.
Yes.
It's a Finnish name.
Yes.
And I hope you know the meaning.
I do. Hope.
Thank you. Hope.
Yes.
Brilliant. So for you to be a Christian, the missionaries had to undress you.
Yeah.
You were very naked, and then they will welcome you. So they stripped you of your everything, your identity, your culture, your traditions, everything. Then they turned you into Christian or Christianity because they felt like you needed to be a new person. Yeah. Only then they can be able to say you are now their property.
Yeah.
So as a Christian, there's a difference. Actually, maybe we need to look at the difference between Christianity and spirituality.
Yes.
It's not the same thing, because spirituality is our sense of being as human beings. You're not just a human, but you are a being.
Yeah.
A being with a soul and also with a spirit. Now, the Bible was brought to you, or Christianity was brought to you by other people. It's their belief, not your belief.
Yeah.
And when they arrived, they came with that book and tried to, you are now their property, a slave. They need to give you a new name and a new culture, new traditions, everything. They basically just uprooted you from what you are, so that you become what they want you to become, so that then you'll be an easy thing to control or to work with. It's just like when you are tokolokamba, you need to tame your dog to behave in a certain way that you want the dog to behave. And you also talked about the teachings that that Christianity taught you to be, being an obedient person, morals, and I'm here thinking, so you mean to tell me that you needed somebody, an outsider, to come tell you what is right, what is wrong? You don't have a mind of your own? And mind you, Christianity only arrived few years ago.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me that your forefathers had no morals?
No, my forefathers were killing each other. They were the most brutal wars in history, especially in Africa, the bloodiest wars that you can think of. There's no respect for human life. There's no respect for jurisdictions. You just come and just conquer. That is not a behavior of a person with a moral sense.
Yeah.
And kindness and all these things.
We are very miseducated and misinformed nation. Now you need to understand when the killing started.
Okay.
Civilization happened or started in Africa. The killing came because our people learned it from those that wanted to conquer the land. That's why they call it land of their father. And also, it happened also that Christianity is a sort of, it's a foreign thing, which is more on kind of a patriarchy thing as well. Because the father, you believe that God is a male figure. And the first sinner in the Bible was a woman. So somebody came up with a way of, you know, in the ancient days, women were the spiritual leaders. They were leaders spiritually. Most of them, if you are to see, even in today's world, we have women who are spiritual leaders. I'll
stop you there. We go for a small break, but I'll challenge you on some of those things. We'll be back in a minute with Nghipudilo Shiindi.
Thank you.
Neopaints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neopaints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neopaints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
The conversation continues on the evening review with Nghipudilo. So you see what I don't understand. The critics, the African critics of the Christian faith, of the Bible and everything, you know, they say it's a foreign concept. It was imposed on us from elsewhere. But even where it originates from, it still exists. It's not as if they just came here, dumped a Bible on us, and then went back to their other life. They are also living the same life. So it's not exactly like this a colonization or capturing of the mind element to this.
Yeah, you know, when you say Christian or Christianity critiques, we are not criticizing at all. We are just stating the fact, the truth, that each and every African or black person needs to know that Christianity is a foreign thing. And in the northern, I would love to concentrate mainly on the northern part of the country, because that is where the gospel from Finland arrived. The other side or part of Namibia, the missionaries were from Germany, but the ones that arrived in the northern part of the country where I'm from were people from Finland. And if you are to go to Finland today and find out how many people are still Christians, you'll be shocked. So we are living in the age of knowledge, and we don't really need to now remain ignorant to the facts. We need to start questioning these things, and the Bible itself. We are not criticizing, and we are also not blaming those that are still believing in it, but we need to start asking questions. So there are a lot of things happening in church, and nobody asks questions. Even the Bible itself, there are a whole lot of verses books that contradict themselves. But
you spoke about decoding, Moss. So we must also not take everything literally in the Bible. Maybe the contradiction doesn't exist if we decode things properly. But let me ask you this. So we believe in God for so many reasons: salvation, judgment day, behaving according to that set of principles so that we may not burn in hell, and all these things in the afterlife. So you don't believe, for example, do you pray, and if you do, to who?
Yeah, so the word that you just mentioned, believe, you believe in God. So that means somebody came and told you there is God, and then you believed that indeed there is God. You haven't seen him, you haven't even probably
I feel his presence in my life, actually.
So that is now God. That's what you call, because I feel like there is too many concept of God. And in the ancient days, people believed in different gods. Each and every nation had their own God that they believe in. Now, I don't believe in believing itself even. I don't know what belief is, because I am here as a soul on this planet. I came here to experience life. And through those experiences, I know that indeed there is certain energy. I don't call it God. Yeah.
So when you go to bed, you don't pray. When you are about to have a meal, what do you do in that moment? Where do your blessings come from?
Why do you have to pray? Like, you are a Christian, and the Bible is telling you that God knew you before you were even conceived, and he had those plans for you and your life. Now, do you pray because you don't respect God and his plans that he have for your life? Do you pray so that he change those plans when he already had them laid for you? Why do you pray? Why do you need, see the need to pray? I do not pray because I believe, as you want me to believe. I am God itself. I'm part of the energy. I'm part of the universe, and water has drops. Now, if I am a drop in the ocean, I'm also part of that water
ocean.
or the ocean. So I don't see the need for me to pray, and I don't even see the need to pray to who for what.
Yeah, you seem to have suggested in the article that we published in Namibian Sun this week, you seem to have suggested that your inclinations now are with your ancestors. What spiritual role do ancestors play in your life? They are dead.
Yes, they are dead. And even Christians believe that spirit doesn't die. It's there. It's just the body that ceases to exist. Yeah. But their energy, their spirit, it's still here because they walked on this land. So, and also, sometimes people have this notion of saying, no, you also believe in your ancestors. No, I don't need to believe in them. They are part of me. So I know they were here. It's not a belief, it's a fact. They were here. That's why I am here. So I don't need to believe in them. They are the way of life. So
this notion of ancestors, you see, the funniest part of that is because it is as if they were perfect beings. Some of them were raping women, some of them were killing children. Are we just supposed now to embrace them because they are some sort of forefather figures or whatever? Why must I believe in ancestors who were just human like me? I have so many flaws. And if 5 generations from mine today, my children, grandchildren, and I don't want them to worship me in the future, because I am nowhere near being the example that I want society to be.
Yes, Toyo, as I told you, we don't worship our ancestors. We don't pray to them. We just recognize their presence because they were here. They paved the way. They gave us life. Had it not been for them, we wouldn't be here today.
They raped women and then we got to conceive.
Yes, and also not all of them were good. Yeah. And mostly the good ones are remembered. Their names are known. Those that didn't do well when they were here, most of them are forgotten. And ancestors are just like you and I. Yeah. They are good people, they are bad people. So is them as well. You recognize the energy, the positive energy of your ancestors, and then you work with them.
So what will happen? You said, for example, that if you get married one day, and the chances of you getting married to a person who is not in some religious orientation is almost zero. You come across a Toiwanjabela who's a Lutheran man, and you get married to him, and how are you going to deal with that aspect? That is one, because time is out now. Two is, when you eventually die, where do you think, what do you think is your destination? Because we are told, as Christians, we are told that we get buried, but the spirit goes somewhere else. We get we go and face Judgment Day, upon which a decision will be made whether I go to this side of heaven, the paradise, you know, people singing and fruits and water flowing, or the burning fire.
Yeah. To your first question, when I happen to get married, probably I'll get married to a Christian man. You are assuming or suggesting that I'm the only person in this world that doesn't believe in Christianity.
You're the first one that I've ever heard. Not Christianity, not just in any religion.
I'm not a religious person, but
Yes.
I'm a spiritual being.
Okay.
Yes, and when this article was published, if you are to go on Facebook and read comments, you see that I'm not the only one. There are people out there, and probably because of the fear that was instilled in us, people are not opening up. They're not coming out. They are still pretending to be Christians when they know for a fact that they are not.
Yeah.
And they go to church just because, you know, it has, they found it that it's just, they go to church just kind of it's a cultural thing. They don't go there as believers. Yeah.
And to my second question?
To your
briefly,
second question, where will I go from
Yes.
here?
Yes.
You know, I'm busy living life, and I'm really, really not concerned about where will I go from here. I'm busy making sense of my life where I am now. And what happened after my body dies, I'm really unbothered.
You're really unbothered.
I'm really unbothered, because when I got here, when my mom gave birth to me,
Yeah.
I don't know where I came from.
Yeah.
So I'll probably go back where I came from when I was born.
Absolutely.
Yes.
My sister. So thank you so much for coming around. I think it's a bit short, but I'm sure a lot of people will ask that we do this again. So if time permits, again in the coming months, after we have digested your position, maybe you'll come back again to the platform. But thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much for having me as well.
Yeah, wonderful.
Okay.
That is Nghipudilo Shiindi. She's just expressing her views on why she quit any kind of religion going forward. Thank you for watching.